Welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional, and international issues in depth. Rotary is a leading global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action together so as to create lasting change across the globe. For more than 114 years, Rotary's people of action have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects as well as the world's most persistent issues. The Kingdom of Bahrain has been part of this remarkable international network for more than 50 years, as the Rotary Club of Manama (RCM) was established in 1965 and became the oldest of this international charity's branches in the kingdom. To know more about Rotary's role, projects, and social responsibilities, especially during current health circumstances, we are pleased to be joined here at the studio by the Governor of Rotary District 2452, Engineer Mazen Ahmed Al-Imran. Welcome back. Joining me in the studio is Mr. Mazen Al-Imran, Engineer Mazen Al-Imran. Thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It's really a pleasure to have you here, especially that we really would like to congratulate you first off on being elected as the Governor of District 2452 for the year of 2020-2021. In fact, this district is very unique as it includes 9 countries spreading in 3 actual continents: Bahrain, the UAE, Lebanon, Cyprus, Jordan, Sudan, Georgia, Armenia, and Palestine. And this is a significant achievement, or it's actually a significant thing that pertains to this. So what can you tell us more about the role of the district governor and the importance of District 245?
Great. Thank you very much for inviting me, first of all. This is my second opportunity to be invited here. Last time I talked about the Capital Secretariat Council. Amazing. I have now a new hat, which is being the governor for District 2452.
Well deserved.
And I think that what's important about this district, first of all, let's go a little bit of history before that. The history started in 1905 when Paul Harris established the Rotary. 1932, if my memory is correct, it was established in Egypt, and then it moved from Egypt, from Cairo to Alexandria, and then, strangely enough, it went to Palestine.
Wow.
At that time. I'm talking about 1932, just about.
Yeah.
It was established in Bahrain, 1965. So it is more than 55 years.
Amazing.
In Bahrain. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Mubarak Al Khalifa was the first president. For 2 years in a row. At that time, it was called District 2450. Why? Because it wasn't 9 countries, as you mentioned. It was 10 countries.
Oh, wow.
It included Egypt.
Okay.
So the number of clubs at that time was keeping it as one district.
All right.
Egypt started to grow in the number of clubs. The moment it reached 100, the Rotary International decided it's time to separate the 2 districts, and they called them the Egypt 2451, and we were started to be called 2452. So we stayed with the 9 countries.
Nice.
And our district has 2,000 members. We have 85 clubs as it stands today. And I'm glad to say that, with 9 countries over 3 continents, different cultures, different religion, different ambitions for their countries. It's very, very much a demanding job for a district governor to make sure that he is there for everybody. Other than that, I think it's important that we say not just it started in 1965, but another club was formed, is Salmaniya, which is now this year will celebrate 50 years.
Wow.
And then we have the 3rd club. And the last but not least, we have the 4th club, which is the Rotary Club of Sif, which is now in Arabic speaking. It's an Arabic speaking club, totally. So we have 3 English speaking and 1 Arabic speaking.
And it's unique because of that.
It is unique in this part of the world because of that. And also we chartered 10 years ago the UAE clubs, Bahrain, the Dubai club. So we have grown, and we also chartered in 2010 the Ramallah Club, in Palestine, which was because it closed for a number of years, and we insisted on Rotary International that there was no reason why not to establish one in Palestine. And so we have now. And I'm glad to say we have 4 clubs now in Palestine.
That's amazing. When it comes to the Rotary International and Rotary Club and the definition of Rotary, people don't really know what kind of an organization it is. History tells you that Rotary clubs are philanthropic and humanitarian organizations. What can you tell us more about that?
Basically, it's a group of professionals who put their hands together. And like I said, 1905, Paul Harris established it in Chicago, Illinois, in the States. There was 3 of them. One was an engineer, one was a lawyer, one was a civil servant. They decided that the country, the community gave them, they were well off compared to the rest of the community. So they said, why don't we rotate between our offices once a week and look at the community and see what it needs. And by doing that, from us, we can gather money from the banks and from other areas and from the big companies to help the community that are less fortunate than us. And based on that, it was called Rotary, because they were rotating between their offices. And it grown much bigger. Now we are talking about the Rotary is exactly 1.2 million, 36 clubs. It is no more 30. I think if there was the 36 clubs now as it exists. And it is over 200 countries. And my last training, which I had to be trained, you know, a district governor doesn't come over just like this. You have to go to the States and attend a 5 days training session in San Diego. And during that, I met with 536 district governors to be in that period.
That's amazing.
And it is unbelievable, because when you say 200 countries, it's as big as the United Nations you're talking about. So it's a big establishment. One thing what's important about the history of Rotary, other than being a philanthropic, and it has certain focus of 5 focus, now it became 7. Because they added the environment.
SDGs.
As a new section. The 5 of them, I will look through them. I can give you a good example of them.
And just to bring it closer, while you get it in Bahrain, the Rotary Club has done a lot of work in the community, including providing equipment for autism schools, providing even material for people in need at that time, and all of these things that have already been done in Bahrain over the years. These are just 1 or 2 things, but just to bring it closer.
I can give you an example, which is 25 years ago. The first thing we found out that from doing our research is that Shahura area needed a club. So what we did among us, I, being an engineer, I designed. We had a group of people who were aluminium supplier, concrete supplier, among our club members. I'm talking about all within the club members. Some of them were contractors. So basically we designed, built, air-conditioned, handed over totally a full-fledged community, youth community center for Shahura Club. So that's an example 25 years ago. We've done a lot more. We'll talk about it, I think, later. But we can. This is the whole aim of Rotary. Non-profit, that's for sure. No politics. We don't go into politics. We don't go into anything, no religion in the sense. We don't get involved in that. And that's what's important about Rotary.
That's amazing. The history of Rotary and its important global role goes back to over 114 years ago, as you mentioned.
As to stand today.
What can you brief us about the Rotary's establishment, missions, and main goals, specifically in Bahrain and in the region?
Since we have the 6 areas of focus today, what does this focus concentrate on? Medical, health. So we concentrate on 3 things related to health. You don't expect that the government has all the facility and all the budget to do things. I think the other community that is around, especially that most Rotarians are professionals, business people, lawyers, civil servants. Among them, they are wealthy enough to get enough support financially to do things where the expensive items, which the government cannot have it in their budget, because you're talking about things like, let's talk about the sickler cell machine.
Yes.
25,000 dinars.
Yes.
One piece.
Yes.
So we had done that. The Rotary Club donated. We got a few other philanthropic clubs to help us.
Yeah.
We got another machine. So by that we gathered 100,000 dinar, and we did 4 machines.
Amazing.
So that is an item which you think about it. Okay, it's a lot of money.
Yes, of course.
But other people will not do it. But you see, you'll find that there is a Rotarian himself will donate it.
Yes.
He's willing to do, because he believes in the movement that you are serving the community.
Yes.
And our main logo for the Rotary is service above self.
Yes.
So God gave you wealth, so you need to spread that wealth and help the others that are in need.
Yes, that's amazing. Especially that machines like that do serve thousands of patients at a time. So that's covering a huge basis. How about its development? I mean, you mentioned that part of the Rotary Club or District 2452 is Palestine, Lebanon, Georgia, like a couple of countries that have not really shown, or we don't really see the Rotary examples from them. So what can you tell us about them being with you?
We have Georgia and Armenia, they have joined us recently. Okay, but Georgia and Armenia, the reason why they joined us, because geographically, basically, they are nearer to us than they are near to any other district around.
Okay, all right.
So that's the reason why the Rotary International joined us.
Perfect.
By the way, the Armenians are very much related to the Lebanon.
Okay.
There are so many Lebanese who are Armenians. And there are so many Armenians that live in Lebanon. So it wasn't a strange scenario of adding Armenia with us.
Yeah.
Georgia, at the same sense, it is also nearer, it is connected to Armenia.
Yeah.
And it is not, they wouldn't have put it in with Russia, because they are not, they have a big war with.
Yes,
so
it's
let's
Eastern
not go to
European,
politics,
not Asian. Yeah.
So they were happy to be with us.
Yeah.
And they are not a rich country as such.
Yeah.
They depend on tourism. So the same service that they have, we have.
Yeah.
I mean, the Georgian, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we arranged a global grant for them to support the families that lost their jobs.
Okay.
Because of the COVID-19. And we created a global grant with thousands, $30,000, $40,000 to support families. Amazing. 200, 300 families, to support families that lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Yeah. So these are areas which the Rotary works on. Not just in Georgia. We did that for Georgia, we did that for Armenia, we did that for Cyprus, we did that for Lebanon. Thank God, our part of the world, like Bahrain and UAE, they didn't really need that indirectly, because the government is doing all that is required to be done with that respect. Yeah. But other countries, Jordan, the same. Yeah. So we have the Rotary International moved from being working on the Polio Plus, which was the main event for the Rotary, which was over the last 30 years, they have put $2.5 billion in that project. Yes. 2.5 billion. Yeah, that's a huge number. Because they have a co-sponsor who is helping them, which is the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation. So for every $1, he puts $2. Okay. So they stopped that job, because there is what's left now on the polio project is 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. And now today, with the COVID-19 pandemic that is existing, you cannot access. Yes. So we said, okay, let's put the money, the Rotary International decided, let's put the money on the situation that exists now. Yes. And so they diverted quite a big chunk and separated it, divided it among the 526 districts, whoever needed it much. Amazing.
That's really great. When it comes to this cooperation that you're talking about between the Rotary clubs and all around the world, what do you value the most about it?
Okay. See, for example, there are clubs in the world which are very, very rich. Now we are working on there is a setup called USAID.
Okay.
The Rotary Club USAID campaign. It's a combination between the global grant, which is the Rotary Foundation, and the USAID, the clubs that are in the States, which some of them have 500 members, each club.
Wow.
They are big.
Yeah.
And their budget is massive. So what we are saying, let's do a combination between us. Georgia and Armenia are among the list of countries that can be supported by the USAID.
Yeah.
USAID has certain particular specification. There are certain countries which they are ready to support, but not others.
Yeah.
That's their policy, so we don't want to go into the political side of it.
Yeah.
So we have already established a link with them, and hoping that we will get a lot of support to both Armenia and Georgia from the USAID, and we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Not just a little bit, because the minimum USAID is $30,000. Okay. So
and to make a difference in these
and
countries.
we put, if the country says I put 30,000, USAID will put 30,000. The Rotary International will put 30,000. So you're talking about $90,000.
Yeah.
And that will help a lot of the projects that's required in Georgia and Armenia.
Yeah.
So we are supporting two of our countries in our district, which needs the support from another area. It doesn't say that we don't support the other 7 countries, because that we can do that through the global grant program that is existing with the Rotary International.
Yes. All of that said, I do want to go back to the part where you mentioned that the Rotary clubs around the world, including those in Bahrain, aim to protect the environment and maintain communities' health and development. What can you tell us about the services that they provide in that extent?
Okay. I just want to go and say a little bit on the 5 avenues that are important that everybody should know about.
Yes.
And now it is the 6th.
Yeah.
There's the 7th, sorry, the 7th.
The 7th was
So basically we have the areas of focus that the Rotary is, where we can get grants and where the Rotary is working on. Peace building and conflict resolution, which is a very interesting subject.
Yes.
Fighting disease, polio, COVID.
Yes, what we're doing now.
Water and sanitation and hygiene. Countries where they don't have clean water for their children, for their people.
Right.
Maybe in Sudan. Lebanon also had a big problem with their schools.
Yeah.
The children were not getting clean water.
Yeah.
They were getting sick. So that is one of the things that we have been working on. Saving mother and children.
Yeah.
Working on that.
Yeah.
Supporting education.
Yeah.
And community economic development. Looking at the country where there are areas where they need something. Like we talked about the Shakhura,
Yeah.
there you are supporting the community,
Yes.
developing areas which they need. And probably other areas. Now I think the clubs of Bahrain are looking at also doing an extension somewhere. I don't know the full detail. They promised me they will give me the details soon. That they are going to build something over on an existing one to support a certain cause.
Yeah.
And this is important. And maybe we are talking about maybe 100,000 dinars,
Yeah.
not just a small amount. So these are the things. And now they introduce the environment,
Yes.
the 7th
The
one,
7th one.
which will only take effect on the 1st of July 2021.
Okay.
It's not next year, but there will be also, at that time, there will be allocated budget for that
Yes.
from the Rotary International. So it's not just they put a focus, no, they put a focus and they put a budget for it
Yes.
to support. I think it's I don't know yet if they have decided on the budget, but not yet.
Yes.
The last presentation of the president, he didn't mention it.
Yes. But it does seem a lot like you support the United Nations SDGs in that extent. I mean, when it comes to environment, education, fighting poverty,
Correct.
these are a lot of things like the SDGs that are presented.
I think what's important to say is that today, one of the most important things that the Rotary International President Holger Knack said is that grow Rotary organically and sustainably.
Yeah.
He wants to grow it that way, not in number only. He wants to grow it in a quality,
Yeah.
not by specific numbers, but on quality.
Yeah.
And he's saying, focus on the environment. This was his presentation in San Diego when I was there. And he said, create new clubs led by young people.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he said they changed they had a strategic plan which had 3 items. Now they added 1 more item. Why did they add 1 more item? Because they believe that the old Rotarians need to adapt to being with the younger generation. Right. The future of Rotary is in the younger generation, the Rotaracts.
As in anything.
And that's the reason why they changed the age of the Rotaracts. Now there is no limit 30. We used to be 30, now they can go up to 40. And the Rotarians can be out front. They can start at the age of 26. Right. So they have done an overlap between the two.
Yes.
And that's the reason, because they want the Rotaracts not to go out and disappear. Yeah. They want them to go out and become Rotarians. And they will be innovative. They have more innovation. They have more creativity. They are more entrepreneurs. They will come up with ideas, which we, the older generation, maybe we are not as good at.
But your experience does come into that.
Of course, but their ideas with our experience, we can complement each other.
Perfect, that's amazing. Well, you mentioned the president of the Rotary International, Mr. Holger Knack. In a recent published statement, he said that in the age of Rotary, the world has faced many catastrophes.
Correct.
However, Rotary has helped the world heal. Every great challenge is an opportunity for renewal and growth. Those words seem to draw a roadmap for the Rotary's efforts during the current COVID-19 pandemic specifically. What can you tell us about the Rotary's humanitarian and social initiatives on local and international level when it comes to that point, COVID-19 and the fight against it?
So basically what the Rotary International was worried about is that with the COVID-19, the Rotary will start getting weaker and weaker. And that's not the aim. So what Holger was saying is that by the way, I met Holger twice personally, because I attended the Gets with him in Dubrovnik, and I attended the Rotary International Assembly in San Diego.
Yes,
so I know him personally, the person. Very nice, down to earth, and his wife is beautiful and very down to earth, both of them. And basically what we're coming back to is that the COVID-19, they were worried that Rotary will start disappearing. So what he initiated, he said, okay, you cannot meet physically, but now with the technology and the IT that exists, let's meet on Zoom.
Yeah.
And now you can get speakers from all over the world, and you don't have to sit in a car and go drive to your Audi. You're sitting at home, opening your computer, and Zooming with somebody who is a speaker in the States.
So saving the environment, getting more speakers, saving money. So there are a lot of positives.
So he has said, okay, I will change the attendance procedure as such, and said, Zoom is an attendance.
Yeah.
Let's get all the Rotarians that you didn't see for a while, ask them to Zoom in, and get the Rotary to start. And strangely enough, we never used to get the Rotary International speaker. The first time in June, before I took over as district governor, I invited the Rotary International president, Holger Knack, to talk to us on Zoom with all the Rotarians in the district 2452. And the next day we got the Rotary, the foundation chair person to talk to us. The second, third day we got the Secretary General, John Huyuko, to talk to us. So basically, you found that the world is all now connected with this.
Your hands.
I was attending in Nairobi a Zoom meeting with the Geeta Menek, who is a member of the Rotary Foundation for 2020 to 2023, a young lady who's from Nairobi. There were 500 attendees on the Zoom.
Amazing.
It shows you that you wouldn't have got that if it is, maybe the COVID has created a havoc everywhere, but at least Rotary-wise, now we are creating funds and so on through the IT.
Amazing.
We have to be creative.
Of course.
And we cannot stop. So now the attendance is on Zoom meetings until hopefully within a couple of months or 3 months, we can go back to physical meetings.
Yes.
But we also are thinking now of having not every meeting if it's physical, maybe one physical or two physical, and then the rest maybe on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of people find it more convenient to connect from their offices or from their homes.
Right, right. And it's also, it saves so much for the environment. It's also easier to get the speakers on board with you. And another thing that we can mention when it comes to this is that I think the Rotary adapts very easily to the circumstances, and that's exactly what a person or what the world needs: adaptive methods.
He specified something very important. I think he said, if I'm just looking through my see, for example, now all the Rotary clubs now are meeting as an e-club, the whole world, which is fine, which is one of the types of Rotary clubs that exists. I have it here. But something what he said, which was very important, he said, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. Why he said that? Because he believes that whatever happens, Rotary has faced much worse scenario because it started in 1905. We're talking
114 years ago.
114 years. So they've gone through
Spanish flu was at that time.
World War II. Exactly, the Ebola. A lot of things. They still survived. So basically, what he's saying, there is always a plan. And we have to increase our ability to adapt, like you were saying. This is one of his main visions that he's talking about, new action plan he has. And basically what the 4 priorities and values are for Rotary. It's important for people to hear that. The values are fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. And the 4 priorities are increase our impact in the world, expand our reach to other areas, enhance participant engagement, get more Rotarians in, and last but not least, increase our ability to adapt with the younger generation. This is the whole strategic plan that we've been working on.
When it comes to the Rotary Club's giving, I just want to focus on the point, or just mention the point, that it's not only of monetary value, it's also of intellectual worth.
Absolutely.
The intellectual worth that people from the Rotary Club, such as you as an engineer, you mentioned already something where you contributed from your point of view as an engineer, and the doctors and everybody that's part of it, it's not just monetary value, but also information wealth. Isn't that true?
That's the basics of forming the Rotary. Basically is that you are using professionals, and the professionals are using their profession to serve that community. We had a doctor who used to work, an eye doctor. We used to send to Sudan. The Rotary Club arranged everything, his visits and everything, and he used to do cataract operation in Sudan, personally himself. He used to go to Sudan, being part of our district, and he used to do 100, 200 operation for 2-3 days and come back. This is where you are using the Rotarians to service, and not necessarily financially, but here he is using his
information wealth.
His information wealth. Other than that, you can go into a lot of areas of training. You train, you bring, for example, experts who are in the, let's say, the media. And you have Rotarians who are running media. So you train others. And other than that, the younger generation has to learn the Rotaracts. Today means Rotaracts, basically 30 to 18 to 40 now, today the age. They are the younger generation who have been, most of them are usually entrepreneurs. They started their life early. They are going into a new creative job. And they need to, between the Rotarians and the Rotaracts, we can form a very good training center. Now we are doing something called the Sickler Disease Training Center. We have created one. The Manama Rotary Club have created a training center where people from the district 2452 come to train. The only training center in district 2452, means 9 countries, huh?
Yes.
Okay, come to train because they have created a training center with the people that are knowledgeable on the sickler disease, and they have the setup, they have all the information, and we've establishment, and I think officially, we didn't officially open it because of the COVID-19,
Yeah.
but hopefully within the next 2-3 months, we will do that. This is the areas where we are trying to work on. There is a lot of areas. I could sit and talk hours and hours,
Yeah.
and I will not finish.
Yeah.
But other than the health, other than the education, other than helping, let's talk about, we also recently, we came up with what they call it, the blind intelligence stick.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That
You
was
remember that?
very interesting. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I
which it
remember
had
that.
all the thing. It has a sound. It gives you a vibration.
Yes.
We bought, I think, 200, and Rotarians individually donated around 200 more.
Yes.
So
yes.
basically, we came up with ideas. But this is innovation, basically,
Right.
and creativity that you need to help the community, and you need to support the government that exists,
Right.
because you are a group of professionals which God gave you a little bit more
Right.
wealth that you can spread around.
Right, right. And in its own way, all of these humanitarian acts and philanthropic acts actually make the standards higher when it comes to the community. The community now wants a higher standard.
Correct.
They want to become better because this is available, and so these things happen. Well, when it comes to the Rotary's conference, the
Okay.
8th conference of the Rotary will be held here in the Kingdom on March 11th and 14th. What can you tell us about the main issues that are on the agenda, and of course include the key speakers who will be hosted?
The seven focus areas of focus we talked about
Yeah.
will be the main subject.
All right.
We are lucky in Bahrain that being a district governor, and I'm one of the oldies, I know most of the ministers that are now in power,
Yeah.
and they are either old friends,
Yeah.
or they are younger brothers, what we
Yes,
say. Okay,
yes.
but I have gone around and met all of them.
Yeah.
And I requested from them to be keynote speaker on their own subjects.
Nice.
Youth, medical, environment. So basically, most of them agreed totally to be keynote speaker on the 7 areas of focus.
Beautiful.
So that's the 7 I have main speakers.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm going to add to that somebody who is basically will talk about Rotary at the same. I don't want it long, boring sessions. I want the district 11th, the 8th district conference in Bahrain to be interesting for whoever is going. Hopefully, it will be physical.
Yeah.
And even if it is physical, not inside, but we'll do it physical outside.
Yes.
We have nice stadiums.
Yes.
We can do it openly. In March, the weather is great.
Very good. Yeah.
So we have no problem. And you can do like whatever it is, the seating, you can arrange it such a way. You
The
can have
infrastructure
everybody.
in
You
Bahrain,
can do
yeah.
all the precautions
Yeah.
that is required. But hopefully it will be a combination of physical plus
Electronic.
virtual.
Yeah. Perfect.
The speakers that we need to have from abroad, we will be televising them on the Zoom.
All right.
They can come and talk to us. We have a big screen, 2-3 screens, whatever it is, and set it up, and they can address the physical people that are there.
Yeah.
We are hoping really that by that time, I'm sure that our countries, if their airports open, they will come.
Yes. Yes.
Especially Lebanon, they will come.
Yeah.
Jordan, they will come.
Yeah.
Cyprus, they would love to come. Georgia and Armenia, they would love to come.
Yeah.
UAE, it's just down the road for
Right.
them.
Exactly.
So basically, we will get people coming in. The last time when we had the DTTS, the district team training seminar I did in Bahrain,
Yeah.
after I came back from January from my San Diego,
Yeah.
I had all the assistant governors and all the deputy district, they all came.
Yes.
So they were happy and they saw something which they didn't expect. Bahrain has changed from the last conference, which was 5 years ago.
It has. It has.
And hopefully by the time things open, maybe the new airport will be open.
Yes, of course.
And then they will see something different. So hopefully the conference will be unique. We're hoping that we'll have a very high person to patron, very high caliber person to patron. We haven't get the confirmation, but when the moment we get the confirmation, we'll inform you.
Yes.
And because of the caliber of the speakers we have, it will make it a very interesting conference.
Especially that is post-COVID-19.
Absolutely.
A lot of the changes will be
because the one before, which is the 7th, which was supposed to be in Jordan, went into virtual, and not really even virtual. It was more pre-registered, what we call
pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So it wasn't what people expected.
Yeah.
But they tried their best. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by that time, things will go back to normal. Because the Rotary International, which is going to happen in Taipei in June, which the Rotary International President, Holger, said, it's going to be physical. And it's going on. Because Taipei, strangely enough, they have minimal
number of COVID.
Almost nothing now, zero. So they are working on it, that it will be physically in Taipei, Taiwan. And that, you know the number that attends in that conferences usually?
You mentioned 500 to
36,000 people attend.
That's the International Rotary.
The International Rotary, which was supposed to happen in Honolulu in Mark Maloney's year.
Yes.
But it didn't happen. But that's what we are expecting. So hopefully ours will go physical, and hopefully the Rotary International will go physical. And we are trying to have the Rotaract conference this year for our district. By the way, we haven't talked much about Rotaract. No. Rotaract are the younger ones. Yeah. They have a DRR, which is a district Rotaract representative, which is also the junior equivalent to myself. Young lady from Cyprus, Yelena, her name is. She is now working on a conference in May, not just with the District 2452, but with all the Mediterranean countries.
Okay, all right.
Big event. Hopefully it will go physical
as well.
And it will go in Cyprus. Now Cyprus Rotarians are starting to meet physically.
Because they've already opened everything up.
Yeah. They are now starting to meet. They had the handover between the deputy district governors physically. So basically things are back to normal.
Perfect.
So we have more than one events for this year.
Coming up, hopefully. Well, 30,000 Rotary clubs around the world provide their local communities with support by adopting humanitarian, health, educational, and other issues with a spirit of public service, as we've mentioned before. Now, how do they assess the outcomes of the services after years of this dedicated efforts that they give in?
If you look at one of the subjects that I said, he said, the Rotary the projects has to be sustainable. That's an important item. Why he said that? Because he wants to make sure that when you do something, either you hand it over to somebody who will run it, and it will stay run it. You don't want to see it not running. So basically, for example, for us, when we did the project on the Shahura part, just as an example, we signed an agreement with the youth. The youth at that time was GOIS, General Organization for Youth and Sport at that time. And we said, please, we will build. We will air condition, we will do everything, we'll furnish it for you. But make sure that it is catered for, because our job will finish the moment we've done that.
Give you the keys.
We'll come back if you need anything else, maintenance-wise. If you need any air conditioning after 10 years, we can do that. But maintaining it, you need to maintain. And that's basically it. Let's talk about now we are looking at, from this conference, hopefully, this conference will bring a big income. Positive income, because basically the ones who attend have to pay a fee, and we will get sponsors. Everybody will be willing to sponsor a conference in Bahrain, especially when it is representing 9 countries, and really we will be opening it to the world and not just the 9 countries. We've already established our 2 Instagrams for this district, 2452. We have already established a Facebook. We've already established a newsletter which comes out every 7th of the beginning of each month. We are informing, and I have kept a very close contact with my zone district governors, which is Zone 21, which has about 28 countries in it.
All right.
East Europe, And we are all on the WhatsApp among each other. We talk to each other daily.
Oh, okay.
And basically, we are hoping that I can bring those into the Bahrain 8th conference and attending their conferences.
Yes.
Basically. And that's the whole idea. The world has become a much smaller place than what it used to be.
Yes. Especially with COVID.
With COVID, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So hopefully we're saying that during this conference, it will be not just for Bahrain, not just for another District 2452. We are District 2451 are already saying we want to come.
Yes.
That is Egypt. They used to come in hundreds.
Yeah.
Last conference we had in 2010, we had 220 Egyptian attended our conference.
Wow.
So we can have the number. We're hoping we'll have the number. And from that money, we're hoping to work on a certain project.
Yeah.
And that is the dialysis machines.
All right.
Dialysis machines cost about 5,000 dinar each.
Yes.
We are hoping that if we gather enough income, we'll spend all the money that we make on dialysis machines.
Yes.
If we can get 20, that's 100,000 dinar. Hopefully, if we do it, we'll spend it all on that and we'll give it a donation, because we know that the amount of the diabetic cases that we have in Bahrain is big.
Yes.
And we need to, and it is, if we don't have the machines at least to do their treatment, it's a problem.
Yes,
and this is one of our gesture of being the conference being in Bahrain.
That's amazing. Well, we've almost come to the end of our show. My last question to you, briefly, you've already mentioned future plans, but what are the upcoming projects and future plans prepared by the Rotary Club in the region in general and in Bahrain in particular?
Okay. I think in the world now they are polio was number one, because they wanted to eradicate polio totally from the world.
Yeah.
So they still have a budget for that, and they are just waiting for the COVID-19 pandemic to disappear so that they can enter and finish that part.
In Pakistan and Afghanistan, as you mentioned.
Pakistan, and we are not talking about much, huh?
Yeah.
We are talking about maybe 50 cases. That's all. There's not much.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think in our part of the world here, we are really, like I said, we are concentrating on the health side.
Yeah.
On maybe there are areas of the health side. Why we are saying the health? Because health is, for us, is an important item. In Lebanon, it's water and sanitation.
Yeah.
In Georgia, it's probably helping the less fortunate families. In Armenia, it's probably each country has its own requirements. Ramallah, for example, they have education.
Yeah.
Us and UAE, okay, we don't have really much on the sense, because
health more.
Yeah, so we are basically going into areas during Ramadan. We donate the what we call the Ramadan boxes and so on. But the most important items is that there are so many medical things where we can help, and that is what we are concentrating.
Community support in that aspect.
In that, on the health side.
Yeah.
And I think with me developing the next few months, seeing the requirements, I need to go and do basically, and what I've started doing is zooming with every single country and asking what is their problems, and seeing that and compiling that and putting the data in and seeing how can we help by getting a global grant from the Rotary International or from the district fund, which is our district.
Perfect. Thank you so much for explaining all of that and telling all of this information to us, especially that the people that will be watching us have been asking a lot about the Rotary Club's services. And as you said, they are available on Instagram. There are 2 accounts where people can know more about future plans and things that are going on. We'd like to thank you also, dear viewers, for being with us today. And we will be seeing you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.